So you're going to travel for the first time and you have no idea what you need to be doing before you travel overseas. In this video, your boy Jaime Woods is going to give you a couple of tips before you leave the country to have a successful trip. Let's get it, baby. It's us. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jaime Woods back at it with another travel video. And make sure you guys hit that like button, that share button, that notification bell, and that subscribe button, man. Listen, it all costs $3.99, okay? It ain't gonna hurt your pockets, nothing like that. In fact, it's just gonna help you out, especially if you're trying to travel around the world. But speaking about traveling around the world, in this particular video, I'm gonna be talking to my beginners, my first-time travelers, or maybe you have traveled domestically, but you never been outside the country. This video's for y'all. I'm gonna give you some tips and some advice on what to do on your first time overseas or going abroad. Because the thing is, if you don't strategize, if you don't plan accordingly, you're gonna have a very bad trip. You know, there's a saying that says that failure to prepare is preparing to fail, okay? And I don't want you guys to fail. I want you guys to succeed overseas. I want you guys to have fun overseas because I love going overseas. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple tips to have a great trip and things that you need to be doing before you go on your trip. So the first one and the most important one is make sure to get your money in order, okay? Don't be one of these typical bros out here that be going overseas with no money or a couple $100. Don't do that, because the last thing you want to do is be stranded overseas, having no way to come back to the United States because you broke or whatever the case is. Don't be that way. Be the type of dude that goes overseas prepared. I'm talking about a couple racks in the savings account. And of course, this depends on where it is that you're going, but you always want to be safe and have a couple racks just in case if something hits the fan, right? So just in case, let's just say you get kicked out of your hotel, Airbnb, or maybe an emergency or something, maybe you get sick, whatever the case is overseas, and you have the funds to pay for it if need be. Because let's just face it, guys, traveling is expensive. Anyone that tells you that traveling is cheap is lying to you. Now, there are places in the world, like I said just a couple seconds ago, that are affordable. You know, you go to, like, for example, you go to the Dominican Republic and you're probably going to be spending, you know, a couple $100, maybe a rack, whatever the case is. Like, you go to all-inclusive resort, you know, especially if it's you and your girl, you're probably just spending like 2 racks, right, for the both of y'all, and everything's included. You don't got to worry about nothing else. That's pretty affordable, right? You go to Colombia, you take a rack, a little over a rack with you. You can have a great time in Colombia. You can have a great time anywhere in Latin America, right? But some other places like Europe gets costly. So you'll need money just in case if an emergency happens. And money will also enhance your vacation, enhance your trip, because you're able to do more because you have more money. If you have less money and you're going to Europe or even some places in Asia, Latin America, whatever the case is, you won't be able to have as much fun or do as many activities as you want because the money isn't there. And that's what a lot of brothers do, is they go overseas with a couple $100 thinking that that's gonna, you know, get them to do so many things, and it actually doesn't. You're only gonna do a handful of things because you won't be able to afford it. So what I recommend before you go on a trip is you go do your budget. Do your budget, okay? Make sure you got your credit, everything paid off, no bills are overdue, all the bills are paid, everything is caught up, okay, before you even decide to start planning a vacation. Once you're caught up, look into your budget for the vacation. How much money are you going to be bringing with you, and the percentage, all right? So you're going to spend this amount on food, this amount on entertainment. Break it down. Go to budget websites, all right? So I'm going to tag the one that I go on usually, and it's pretty, you know, I would say it's pretty good. I'm not going to say it's 100% accurate, but it's pretty good. So go to this website right over here that I'm showing y'all right now, and search up whatever city that it is, and it will give you a daily estimate of what you can expect to be paying or spending in a day in that place, all right? And then it breaks it down also, you know, by, let's just say if you're a solo traveler, or if you're going with your girlfriend, boyfriend, or if you're going on a trip with your kids, you know what I mean? So it has different budgets for every single scenario or situation that you would be in. Number 2, and this is one that gets overlooked a lot when people go on vacations or are planning to go on a vacation, but make sure to get your mental in order. Let me repeat that again. Make sure to get your mental, right? Your mind, your head. It needs to be in the right state of mind before you go overseas. Don't bring the foolery. Don't bring the American mindset or any stupid behavior overseas, okay? You need to keep yourself in check before you go overseas or while you're overseas. Don't embarrass yourself and don't embarrass Americans like that when you go overseas. And that's what happens is a lot of y'all take y'all hood mindset, right? Or maybe you got anger issues. Maybe you're going overseas with the wrong mindset, right? You're going strictly for the women. You're going strictly for P, right? Which, if that's something you want to do, like I said, I've stated this many times throughout my videos, I don't care about that. Whatever you want to do with your ding-a-ling, whatever you want to do with your money, you could do that. Go ahead and do that. I ain't going to judge a brother for what they do with their own money, right? You do what you want to do. But my thing is, don't be going out there being super desperate and super thirsty and start doing some weird shit, right? A lot of y'all brothers be going overseas and y'all mind ain't in check, right? You got anger issues, whatever the case is, and then you also take it out on these chicks. You start talking to these chicks, you start acting weird, you start taking your anger on them, you start taking your desperation, your thirstiness out on them. A lot of y'all assume because you got a blue passport, that means that these girls got to bend over backwards for you and do whatever you want them to do. And that's not the case, man. These people are free people. They're good people. They don't got to do whatever the fuck you want them to do. If you get no women in America, not saying you can't overseas, but things don't change too much overseas either. In fact, in some ways, they get more complicated because now you're dealing with women that don't speak your language, and a lot of them don't speak English, okay? So, which means you may have to use a Google translator. So if you got no game in America, you probably have no game overseas. All right, let me debunk that myth real quick and stop going to these countries with this desperate, thirsty mindset, just looking straight for the cheeks. You know what I mean? Like, stop doing that. Start going with better intentions, all right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be going to these countries for women, because I know women is a key factor of why a lot of men travel to these specific countries. However, if that's the sole and only reason as to why you're doing it, I think you need to check yourself, brother. Number 3 is to make sure to do your research, okay? So do your research on the culture, do your research on what cities to go to, how far they are from one another, what neighborhood you'll be staying at, what is in that neighborhood, certain landmarks or certain things for you to be doing, what places to stay away from, the finances, as I discussed earlier. Like, make sure you guys are well-rounded and at least somewhat knowledgeable on that specific country, because the last thing you want to do is go to a country and not know anything about it, and you only went there for the women or for the nightlife. Don't do that. Make sure that you have an understanding of other aspects of that about that country, because it could save your life and make your trip so much better if you know a thing or two. All right, so start looking up YouTube videos. Look up my YouTube videos. I mean, there's no excuse to why you guys would not know anything about a single country in this planet. There are a ton of content creators literally on YouTube, the streaming platform you're watching right now, where you can search up whatever country and they can show you everything inside and out about that country, so you go into it better educated. You can go on people's Patreons to get exclusive content. You can go book consultations with certain YouTubers or certain travel guides or whatever the case is, so they can put you on game. You can go to Google, search up whatever question it is that you have about a particular country. There's no excuse to why you guys are going to countries uneducated and, of course, not knowing anything about it. The more you know about the country that you're going to, as I said before, the better your experience is going to be, because you're going to be able to integrate yourself and assimilate yourself and camouflage yourself, I guess you can call it, better into that society, into that country. But if you go into a country, without no knowledge, just winging it, you're going to have to adjust at that very moment. And by the time you're fully adjusted, it might be too late. You might already be in the last day of the trip and you just wasted all that time trying to integrate yourself into that culture because you had no idea what you were getting yourself into. Number 4, and I can't stress this enough, number 4 is learn a little bit about the language in that country. Guys, we have Duolingo. we have YouTube, we have so many different applications and services and programs that can teach you guys how to speak or how to understand a new language. I get that learning a new language is crazy, right? I get it. It can be very difficult. There is a learning curve when it comes to learning a new language. I totally understand that. However, no one's telling you to be fluent in the language. The whole point of this specific point right here that I'm talking about is at least for you guys to understand and grasp the basic terms and basic words of that language. Like, that way it can help you when you get there. Like, understand how to say, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, how are you? Do you speak English? My name is blah, 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 whatever, like try to learn the basic terms of that language. You don't even got to be that fluent in it. As long as you know a thing or two, you should be able to navigate through the country. Most countries, for the most part, have a good group of people, a good bunch of people that understand English because English is a universal language. However, there are some countries where nobody speaks English or a small population speak English, and you're going to be screwed because you didn't study a little bit of the language, so you don't know how to communicate with these people. So you may have to revert to Google Translate 24/7 to help you out, and that can make your trip very difficult, and it is very annoying to keep taking out a Google Translate or your phone to translate shit. Like, you don't want to be that guy, and then this is annoying for the people themselves. It just shows a lack of preparation. As I said before, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like that, so at least make a little bit of preparation. Try to learn a thing or two in that language or certain slang words, so when you do land, you're better prepared. And I've noticed that when you know a thing or two about the language, not only will the locals respect you more because they understand you took the time to learn about their culture and their language, but also they're going to be a lot nicer to you and willing to show you around and do a lot of favors for you because they love Americans. But of course, not many Americans know their language. So yeah, it's important to learn a new language because it can help you out to establish connections and bonds with the locals.
Hola, I'm Camila, Jaime's tutor on Preply, and I'm coming here to invite you guys to go there and check my profile and book a trial lesson with me. Jaime's making incredible progress, and I would love for you to do too. See you later.
The final one is to book your tour guides and events in advance. Don't book this when you get to the trip. The whole point of booking it in advance is that you pay for everything in advance. You don't got to worry about paying nothing once you get there. And another thing is you don't got to worry about planning things as you there because planning requires time and effort. You don't want to be planning when you're at that country. You want this to already be planned and set up before you get there. So when you do get there, it's boom, 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 right? This day I'm hanging out with this individual. This day I got a tour guide that's going to be taking me around this specific part of the city. This day I got a bar crawl that I set up through Airbnb Experiences. This day I got a food tour that I set up through a tour guide website. Like, start booking things in advance because it's going to make your trip so much more fun. And it's going to be less of a hassle compared to you doing that on the spot or you trying to roll up into a site the day of, right? So let's just say you're trying to go to the Louvre in Paris. You don't book tickets in advance. You don't get a tour guide in advance. You pop up the day of, and there's a long line, like literally around the block, right, to get into the ticket concession stand to buy tickets to go to the Louvre. Like, you know how annoying that is? Now you just wasted a bunch of hours probably standing in the heat or the cold, sweating your balls off, shivering your balls off to get tickets. And then now you got to go into another line to get into the Louvre. And also, to add on to that, do your itinerary in advance. So plan it out by days. So your first day should be a little bit more relaxed, more chilled, as you just got there. You probably got jet lag. So make it relaxing. Make it about kind of getting to know the city a little bit. and of course a nice dinner, relaxing day. And then every other day you can plan bigger events as the trip goes on. So try to plan a big event per day, so that way you're not cramming it up and overwhelming yourself either. And do that, and make sure to book those things in advance, so when you do land, all you got to do is show up and you're good. You don't got to worry about paying no money, getting no tickets, standing in a long ass line. Listen, man, time is money when it comes to these vacations. And on top of that, before I forget to leave this one off, sometimes paying in person can be more expensive than paying online. A lot of these companies prefer you to pay online because it just makes their lives easier that you pay shit in advance, compared to you being there and making their workers and everyone have a fucking crazy day, because, you know, these lines be packed. I don't know if you guys be seeing these lines, but they usually have discounts when you pay things online. And on top of that, sometimes you may be able to get things for free if you book it in advance or pay online, because in a country like Spain, for example, in the summertime, usually on a Monday or in the middle of the week, they'll have free days where you can go to the Royal Alcazar or a museum for free, $3.99, right? You may have to pay like a $2 fee or whatever it is to book the tickets online, but it's technically free. So not only will you be able to get things discounted, and it makes things less of an hassle, but also you might be able to do things for free. So book everything in advance online before you get there. So I hope those tips can help you guys out, as I want everyone to have a great time in their upcoming trips, their summer vacation, their first time abroad. I want it to be special and I want it to be great. And like I said, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So make sure you prepare. That's what this video is all about, is preparing beforehand, whether that's financially, mentally, you know, doing your research, you know, preparing yourself to be able to kind of speak the language or understand it to an extent, and preparing these events in advance, so that way when you get there, it's hassle free. You don't gotta worry about nothing. You don't gotta worry about paying nothing, because everything's paid for in advance, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see more travel videos and vlogs, click up on these videos over here. Thank you so much, and until next time, let's get it, baby.
The next mission is Shibuya.
Look at me, where she gonna be? Call me Ricky T. Off the leash, I feel like a dog. I get her the free, keep it P. Never needed you, but you needed.
Hasta tiene la bebida ahí, mira. Es agua.
Is water.
It's water.
Ah, tá. Hoje eu estou apocalíptica. Sabadão. Já é tarde, mocinha. Tarde? Apenas está começando, meu querido. Que foi, Jaime?
Sí, mucha bebida para usted. Oh my God.
Number! Surprise!